Nicola Evans avec Goulet.
The Vegas Golden Knights came into Montreal off the heels of a 7-1 drubbing at the hands of the Ottawa Senators. The Canadiens, meanwhile, were reeling, coming off of back-to-back home losses against division opponents in the Sabres and the Bruins. Montreal got off to an extremely slow start against the Sabres, falling behind 3-0 before finally showing up in a too little, too late kind of loss. While against the Bruins, Montreal had a terrific start and a solid defensive performance that was completely undone by a porous penalty kill and untimely goals against. Samuel Montembeault started both of those games, and while he wasn't exactly terrible in either game, he was the second best goalie in both of those games. And that's been an unfortunate trend for the Canadiens for not only this recent stretch of games, but the majority of the season. Just go back through the schedule game by game and think about which team had their better goaltender on any given night. Versus Boston, Swayman was better. Versus the Sabres, Luukkonen was better. Against the Wild, Wallstedt was better. Versus the Senators, Montembeault was better, but he still gave up 5 goals and posted an .853 save percentage. The only saving grace in that game was that Meriläinen has been historically terrible. Against the Capitals, Thompson was better. Against the Canucks, Tolopilo was better. Against the Red Wings, Gibson was better. He shut them out. And then go back through those same games and look at how poor the Canadiens' penalty kill has been, operating at just a pitiful 50% rate in that span. With those two faucets of your game misfiring so badly, you cannot be surprised that you're picking up more and more frequent losses. So that's why going into tonight's game against the Vegas Golden Knights, you knew that goaltending and the penalty kill would be the story for the Montreal Canadiens. And if I told you going into this one that the Canadiens PK would go 3 for 3, including killing off 3 power plays in a 7-minute stretch between the second and third period, and that they'd come away with a .941 save percentage in the game, I think most people would have said that the Canadiens would have come away with a victory in that game, especially given how well the Canadiens offense has played all season long. And the Canadiens did come away with a victory, 3-2 in overtime. Montreal got off to a very slow start in this one, and things weren't looking too promising. They were quite heavily outshot by Vegas early, and Pavel Dorofeyev got the scoring started with his 23rd of the season just 8.5 minutes into the game. Dorofeyev capitalized on a giveaway by the Canadiens in the offensive zone. He streaked down the left wing all the way up the ice. He froze Dobes just long enough by making him consider the pass, and roofed it to give Vegas a 1-0 lead. And while Dobes did allow that early goal to Dorofeyev, he did quite well to limit the Vegas Golden Knights and give them just the 1 goal. And the Canadiens used that early goal against as a rallying cry, and they turned things around quite quickly after that. And while giving up the first goal isn't the type of thing that you plan on doing, they at least responded well, and they quickly began to equalize the shot totals and the scoring chances in this one. Schmid came up with some pretty solid saves and he kept Vegas ahead, but the effort that the Canadiens put forth, in particular after that first goal against, was enough to at least inspire some confidence in terms of their prospects of coming away with a victory in this game. The second period saw the Canadiens continue to perform well, and they actually took over the game for the majority of the period. Barbashev got called early for tripping, it sent the Habs on the power play, and Cole Caulfield scored what he thought was his 30th goal of the season, but the Canadiens were yet again on the wrong side of a coach's challenge for offsides. A quick review ensued, it was determined that the Canadiens were offside, and so that power play goal was wiped off of the board. But the Habs didn't let that deter them, however, as a nice steal by Zachary Bolduc in the offensive zone led to a quick shot on net, and Philippe Danault was able to get his stick on it just in time, deflect it by Schmid, and draw the Canadiens level at 1. Danault's second goal of the season was just what the doctor ordered, and rewarded the Canadiens for a solid effort to start the second period. The Canadiens had managed to tie the game just 4 minutes into the second, and just 4 minutes after that, Cole Caulfield scored what was actually his 30th goal of the season, following up on a terrific scoring chance in which he was absolutely robbed by the tip of the glove of Schmid with a heads-up play to scoop up a loose puck in front of the net and effectively use his lightning-quick hands. He pushed the puck through a small gap between Schmid's pad and the post, and he put the Canadiens up front 2-1. And whereas Vegas had opened up a significant advantage in shots and chances early in the first, the Habs had managed to open up a similar advantage through the first 30 to 35 minutes of the game. Montreal continued to outwork Vegas for almost the entirety of the second period, but things began to fall apart as the period began to draw to a close. With about 5 minutes to go in the period, Vegas really began to push for that game-tying goal. The pressure in the Habs zone led to penalties taken by the Montreal Canadiens, and while some of those individual calls could certainly be questioned, one thing that could not be questioned was that the tide was turning in Vegas' favor and the chances were starting to pile up. Montreal took back-to-back penalties to close out the second and open the third period, with Cole Caulfield, Lane Hudson, and Oliver Kapanen being called for hooking, holding the stick, and interference respectively. And whereas in previous games this was the point in which the Canadiens' penalty kill would just implode and their goaltending would completely fall apart, they did manage to survive those penalty kills, just barely. So while the shots at the end of 2 periods were tied at 20 and the Canadiens had a 2-1 lead, they quickly fell into a hole in the third, and those multiple power plays for the Golden Knights seemed to really put wind in their sails, and they stormed ahead to a 13-3 shot advantage in the third period. Unfortunately for Dobes, who stopped 32 of 34 shots in this one, Pavel Dorofeyev was able to redirect a shot by Ben Hutton by him with just over 3 minutes to go. There was nothing Dobes could do on this one, and it set the teams on a course for overtime. Montreal managed to accomplish the first part of the mission in securing a point, but given that they just lost 2 crucial divisional games in a row, this one was a must-win game for the Canadiens, who were quickly finding themselves in danger of falling out of a playoff spot. So when Alexandre Texier drew a penalty with just over 30 seconds to go in the game, it gave the Canadiens a great opportunity to come away with a victory. On that power play opportunity in overtime, Schmid came up with the save of the game while shorthanded. Juraj Slafkovsky scooped up a rebound and Schmid somehow caught it in his glove. It was a terrific save, and while the Canadiens didn't score on the man advantage, it at least gave their offense some life. So with the team still at 4-on-4 in overtime, after the power play had ended, Jake Evans accepted a pass from Alexandre Texier, and he appeared to catch everyone off guard by cutting to the net, working the puck to his backhand, and swinging the puck by the outstretched pad of Schmid to give the Canadiens a crucial 3-2 overtime win. Now, was it the Canadiens' best game of the season? Absolutely not even close. But did they check all the boxes they needed to check that they haven't been checking lately? Definitely yes. They had the better goaltender tonight. They had a PK that didn't allow a goal. They fought back from an early deficit, and they executed in overtime as they've done all season long. If the Canadiens can continue to find themselves with the better of the 2 goaltenders on their side in any given game, the wins will pile up at an astronomical rate for this team, especially given the proficiency of this team's offense. Case in point, Cole Caulfield scored for a 6th consecutive game, and that included his 30th goal of the season in just his 53rd game. So he now has 29 games to go out and score 10 more goals to become the first Montreal Canadiens player since, get this, Vincent D'Anfous in 1994 to score 40 goals in a season. Jakub Dobes has to be rewarded with more starts. The Canadiens cannot afford to go back to Samuel Montembeault. Even when Dobes has played poorly this year, the team has found ways to win with him in the net. He's a goaltender who gets you wins, and I'm well aware team wins aren't necessarily a goaltending stat, but there's something that has to be said for a guy going in there who does just enough exactly when you need it to get you a win. And that guy, all season long for the Canadiens, more often than not, has been Jakub Dobes. No, he's not going to be a long-term #1 goaltender in this league. No, he's never going to win a Vezina trophy. No, he's never going to start 60 games. But all season long, he's been the guy who's given the Canadiens the best chance to win when he's started. And without hindering the development of Jacob Fowler, it seems like riding the Jakub Dobes wave has to be the path forward for the Montreal Canadiens. Anyway, you guys, that's going to be it for me. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below. Thank you guys for bearing with me. I've been on vacation with the family. It's been great to get away from doing these reviews for a little while, especially after those rough losses against the Sabres and the Bruins. I appreciate you guys watching the videos. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below. If you made it to the end of the video, please consider giving us a like and a subscribe. It really helps out the channel, and have a great night, guys.